It's recap time. 3, 2. Hey, quick interruption, Future Chip here. If you're coming from the previous video and you already know the drill, you can skip directly to the recap. Otherwise, if this is your first time, I'll let you with the intro and enjoy the episode. 1. Hello everybody and welcome to the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host Chip and this is not my usual intro. This is a bit of a special episode. Unfortunately, I will be away for a few days and I found out this interesting way of filling the gaps with recaps from previous episodes. If this is your first time here, use it as an opportunity to find topics that you might be interested in and go back to listen to the original ones. If you are a usual listener of the Shower Podcast, well, again, this might be a rehearsal of topics that you might be interested in. Otherwise, I understand if you want to wait for me to be back. But in the meanwhile, the podcast needs to continue and we need to reach day 365. Having said that, I will not keep you longer. Thank you very much for listening. As always, a like and a subscribe. They are always welcome. And now, recap time.
Hey, and welcome. We're doing something a bit different today, a special deep dive.
Yeah, our friend Chip over at Shower Podcast shared a few of his recent deep dives, and well, we thought it'd be cool to revisit them.
Definitely. So if you missed any of these the first time, this is a great way to catch the highlights. And if something really grabs you, you should totally check out Chip's original full deep dive later.
For sure. We're going to walk through 5 of them, sort of hitting the main themes, maybe some interesting bits that stood out.
And maybe a few laughs. Okay, let's jump in. First up is episode 104, Where Did My Time Go?
Oh, man, I think we've all been there.
Mm-hmm. Those days where you just blink, it's suddenly evening, and you're like, wait, what did I actually do?
Exactly. Especially with, the endless scrolling trap. This episode really dug into that.
Yeah, and a key thing that came out of it, I thought, was the importance of being deliberate. Like actually planning or choosing your actions.
Even if it feels a bit, restrictive sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But the idea is that intentionality helps you actually feel the time more instead of it just vanishing.
Chip even shared his speedrunning cleaning experiment, which sounds kind of funny.
Yeah. But the point was, by really focusing on that task he chose, for a set time, he was way more aware of the minutes passing.
It's like it flips the script, doesn't it? When you don't deliberately choose, your sense of time just kind of fades.
Yeah, it diminishes. Leads to that whole day slipped away feeling. He even compared it to those deliberately long, maybe unfulfilling documentaries designed to just eat time.
Ugh, yeah. But then there's the magic when you are focused on something you chose, even for a short time.
Exactly, like deciding I'm going to browse for 5 minutes versus just finding yourself browsing an hour later. It's different.
Totally. He related it to that hike he took, remember? 5 hours out hiking felt like a whole substantial day.
Mm-hmm. Compared to the same 5 hours maybe just puttering around at home, not really engaged, that reward comes from deliberate use.
So it's not about being a control freak with your schedule.
No, not at all. It's more about focus, so you can actually enjoy things more. Like watching a movie properly versus half watching while you're on your phone.
Right, being present.
So yeah, the core idea, choose how you spend your time, even in small ways. And you'll probably enjoy it more and feel more in control.
Okay, cool. So next, episode 105, Round and Round. This one looked at how our emotions swing throughout the day, which they definitely do.
Oh, absolutely. A bit of an emotional roller coaster sometimes, right?
Totally. And the main idea Chip explored was that acknowledging both the sad and the happy feelings is, well, healthy. Our mood isn't static.
Yeah, you got to look at the bigger picture over time, not just one moment. It's okay to have downs and ups.
He told that story, remember? About editing on a Saturday, feeling rubbish, doom scrolling, and then putting on that song, Milano Good Vibes.
Yeah, and it just completely shifted his mood. Suddenly things felt good, productive. It's those little moments.
It really shows how fluid things are, and it made me think we often critique ourselves way more when we're down than we acknowledge the moments when we actually feel pretty good.
Exactly. Chip's point was that there isn't always some perfect middle ground. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, and the key is just noticing both.
And actually seeing those little moments of happiness, even tiny ones, as like a win for the day.
Yeah. Let that define the day, not just the slump you might have been in earlier.
And when you are feeling down, just knowing, okay, this isn't permanent, good moments will come back around.
It's about spotting those little sparks, isn't it? A good cup of coffee, something nice you saw outside. They're there.
Finding them, yeah. And then maybe focusing on them a bit, letting them grow almost.
Right. Gives you something to rely on when things feel a bit bleak. It underlines that circular thing. You don't stay stuck.
Even a simple action can start shifting things.
And it's kind of amazing, isn't it? How you can go from feeling genuinely miserable to like fantastic in a really short space of time sometimes.
Yeah, and how that happens is so personal too.
Which kind of leads nicely into episode 106, actually. This one asked, can you buy expertise? It looked at, shortcuts to mastery.
Ah, yes, the classic scenario. Chip painted this picture of average Joe. Joe wants to be a photographer.
Right. So what does he do? Skips a learning curve.
And buys like $10,000 worth of pro camera gear. Thinks that's it. He's an expert now.
And the big point was? Nope. Having the best tools doesn't mean you have the skill. Joe, with his fancy camera stuck on auto.
It's still basically inexperienced. Fundamentally, yeah, the gear doesn't just do it for you.
It's the difference between relying on a tool to look like you know what you're doing versus actually having the skills to manipulate the tool effectively.
Yeah, like a pro can take that same fancy camera or even a basic one and use it intentionally to get a specific result, adapting to the situation.
He used the example of taking portraits. Easy and perfect light, maybe.
Right.
But what about tricky lighting or wanting a specific mood? A pro thinks about the whole process, settings, even editing later. The inexperienced person might just be lost.
And Chip brought in his own story here, didn't he? Learning photography himself.
Yeah, starting out with a really cheap, basic camera, like one lens, for 2 or 3 years, he said.
Wow, yeah.
And the value there is in the limitations. You have to learn how things work. You struggle, you figure things out, you develop a real understanding, a method.
Not just getting a lucky shot because the camera did everything, you build the foundation.
Exactly. Expertise isn't something you just purchase, like the end product. It's about building all those other skills through time, through effort. Joe can buy the camera.
But not the years of practice and understanding. Makes sense.
Okay, so then we got to episode 107. Wait, it's too early. This one uses a really neat metaphor.
Oh, the construction site one. I like this. Learning as building something.
Yeah, the idea of using scaffolds.
Yeah.
You gather your resources, you build a framework, you do the actual creating, and then eventually you remove the scaffold.
And see the result. And this tied into that think fast, think slow idea, the two systems.
Right. System 1. Fast, intuitive, runs on stuff you've already mastered. System 2. Slower, analytical, critical thinking. That's what handles new concepts.
But system 2 gets overwhelmed easily, right? Can only juggle like 4 or 5 new things at once?
Something like that. So learning requires engaging system 2 because system 1 just uses what it already knows. But that takes time and, actual engagement.
You can't just passively absorb complex stuff instantly.
Exactly. And the scaffold, in the analogy, is that gradual building process using system 2, practicing, connecting ideas until eventually it gets solid enough to transfer to system 1. That's mastery.
Okay, but then things like ChatGPT came up. Tools that give you answers super fast.
Right, which can feel like you've learned really quickly, like putting up a scaffold almost instantly.
But the danger, Chip pointed out, is taking that scaffold down too early.
Thinking you've got it, you understand it, but you haven't actually done the deep work with system 2, so the foundation isn't really solid.
It's an illusion of understanding.
And the consequence of that weak foundation, you can't really build on it. You might technically know some facts, but you can't apply them or solve new problems with them, like building a second floor on shaky ground.
Yeah, it crumbles.
And this leads to that idea of cognitive offload. When something is mastered in System 1, it feels effortless. That's why watching experts is amazing. It looks so easy for them.
Because all that underlying structure is solid, built over time.
Precisely. So the takeaway was, when you're learning, be aware of this. Don't chase the illusion of quick knowledge. Real understanding needs that System 2 effort.
Makes sense. Slow and steady builds the strong foundation.
Okay, finally, episode 108, Yourself is Enough. This is a lovely one, exploring authenticity.
Yeah, it started with a real thinker of a question. How many times today have you actually been yourself? Like truly yourself, no rules, no worrying about expectations?
And the likely answer for most of us is probably not that often. It's normal, but interesting to think about.
He told that beautiful story about the stray dog. Remember, after it got adopted and started feeling safe.
Oh yeah, it transformed, didn't it? From this subdued little thing into this dog full of curiosity and its own unique personality quirks.
Exactly. And the insight was that those qualities were always there. They were just suppressed by the dog's environment. His fear, his insecurity.
It's such a powerful parallel to us, isn't it? How different settings or feelings can make us hide parts of ourselves.
Makes you reflect on how often maybe we pretend or just go along with things because it seems easier or it's what's expected.
Instead of just being, well, us.
And Chip wasn't saying you never have to adapt or, play a role sometimes for convenience.
No, that's part of life. But the ideal is to have more and more opportunities where you can just be genuine.
And the key thing he said was that being yourself doesn't really need an explanation when it's real. It comes from feeling safe, feeling secure.
When you feel accepted in your environment, your true self just sort of emerges naturally, like the dog.
And he encouraged actually practicing it. In situations where maybe you feel a bit doubtful, try just being you anyway.
Like flexing a muscle. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes. And the more you become. You develop your uniqueness.
And there's that double benefit he mentioned, the immediate good feeling of doing what feels right for you. And the long-term thing of really growing into your own specific passions, your perspectives, your style.
And of course, finding the right people, surrounding yourself with those who appreciate the real you, helps create that safety net.
Totally. It allows them to see you and support you for who you actually are.
Which ultimately leads to that feeling of just ease, freedom, not having to overthink constantly, just being.
Yeah, a really nice message to end on. So there you have it, a whistle-stop tour through 5 of Chip's recent deep dives from Shower Podcast.
We touched on, managing time deliberately, the ups and downs of emotions, what expertise really means.
The process of learning and that construction idea, and finally, just the power of being authentic.
We really hope this recap gave you some interesting things to chew on. And hey, maybe it sparked your interest to go back and listen to Chip's original episodes for the full experience.
Yeah, each one definitely has more depth and nuance. But anyway, thanks so much for joining us for this little retrospective. We always love exploring these ideas with you.
Stay curious, keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll see you tomorrow.